أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ففهمنا سليمان وكلنا آتينا حكما وعلما رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم سبحانك لما وحنانيك ألم لا تنسني ولا تنسني الحمد لله أفضل الحمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وسائر النبيين والصالحين وسلم اللهم وفقني واهدني وسددني واجمع لي بين الصواب والثواب وعذني من الخطأ والهلمان آمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode of Q&A. Feels great to be back at the studio here in Bradford. I spent a couple of days away in London looking at a project that I'm working on, and busy schedule, very busy schedule, literally working from dawn till way past dusk. But alhamdulillah, the work was it was a very productive couple of days. Got to meet a few people as well, but the project that I was working on, mashallah, has moved on considerably. So that was fantastic, and that's given a useful 2 days. But I obviously missed the opportunity to be here and speak about the various matters of your concern. So just to remind you again, the number is 01274 214 299. That's Bradford, 01274 214 299. So that's the number you need to call if you have any questions. And as usual, I have a number of questions here saved on my Q&A forum that I have. So I will be going to them shortly. But before I do, I just want to touch upon a more kind of general social system that we have. One of the things that we find in our houses is the ability to resolve differences or the ability to resolve issues and concerns which get raised. So when matters occur, when problems occur, we unfortunately do not know how to deal with them. So what we do instead is either just ignore them and hope they'll go away, or what we do is we kind of go in there guns blazing and we don't really seek the truth and we just consider everybody to be equal, that you're all at fault or that you're all right. And neither of those two approaches work. One is the stay quiet, hopefully the problem will solve itself. That never happens. In fact, it gets worse. The second one is that you just consider everybody to be the same. That's also problematic. Why is that problematic? Because of the fact that the person who's been injustice done against them, they're going to feel disheartened. They're going to feel very upset. They're going to be angry that this person hasn't resolved the matter, and even the abuser is being considered equal to the abused, and that can never be right. There can be mistakes we can make, that's fine, as long as due process and a system is followed. So it's important that what we do is we address these issues in our houses, and we do not ignore them. When we set ourselves up as elders in our homes, then as elders we need to unpack and deal with that situation. If as elders we don't deal with that or unpack that situation, then the situation is going to get worse. We say, don't we, that we should respect our elders, but there's a reason we respect our elders. The reason we respect our elders is because our elders come in and solve problems. They solve the situation. Why? Because they are our elders, they are older than us. They have a specific role in the community, in the society, and in our homes to solve those issues. If they don't solve those issues, then obviously it's problematic. It is a concern that needs to be addressed and that needs to be resolved. I was just dealing with an issue just before I came on live, on my way here and prior to setting off from madrasa, and it was on this exact topic. Spent nearly an hour talking. Lost a bit of my teaching time, or lost a considerable amount of my teaching time addressing this issue because of the inability, you could say, of dealing with a problem. And if we're unable and we find somebody that is able, then we should ask them to deal with that issue, to deal with that matter. So please, those of you who are listening, those of you who are watching, resolve your family issues. I'm not saying resolve your major family issues, meaning going beyond brothers and sisters and beyond parents, because that can get a little bit difficult. I'm talking specifically about, first in your house between mother, father, and children. And if obviously children have grown up and now have moved out, then again, resolve these. These are issues that need to be resolved. Otherwise, the elders will lose respect from the others, because they will feel that this person is not carrying out justice, this person is not resolving the issue, this person is hoping the problem will just solve itself and it will eventually go away. It never does. People will hold resentment, people will hold it in their hearts that this is a matter that never got resolved, and it will be always two-faced or done in such a way that there's no solution to that. So that's something we obviously need to be concerned about. That's obviously something that we need to deal with. Anyway, today is about Q&A, and just going to look at this fantastic cup of coffee and take a few sips if you don't mind. So let's look at some of this Q&A, okay? Again, please do call in. In the meantime, whilst you are calling in, so let's go to the questions. Here we go. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. A person bought a house with interest-based mortgage and is planning on selling the house. Will the money from the selling of the house be considered halal money? Then it adds a second part to the question, which is the person keeps on asking me to search the internet for a new house for them to buy. They are planning on buying the house with the money they get from selling of the house, plus a mortgage, even though they know riba is haram. I have so far avoided in searching for the person to buy it because of their involvement with interest. I want to know that if I recommend certain houses for the person to buy, will I be considered in assisting in riba? Okay, so the second part of the question is relatively easy compared to the first part of the question. The first part of the question is that this person has bought a house, but they've obviously taken a mortgage out to buy the house. Now, in terms of this, and this is, if we took a very strict position with regards to this, then the loan is impermissible. When the loan is impermissible, then the property is also impermissible because the loan itself is problematic. Okay, so what I'll do is let me reply back to this. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So yes, so in normal circumstances, as I was saying, that if a person purchases a house with an interest-based mortgage, then if you took a very strict position, then the loan is impermissible to enter into the loan, and also then the actual property itself would be impermissible, what you've purchased from it. However, we find that there's many people involved in this. So therefore, what we try to do is try to give some level of permissibility in terms of the actual product at the end. Otherwise, lots of people are going to be in very difficult circumstances. So if we did take that approach, then that would be one position to adopt. But however, the person who's asking is that they're asking me to buy a house for them on the internet. Now, because this person is not interested in how this person makes this purchase and is not involved in how this person makes this purchase, this person is only involved in locating a property. How that person buys it, it's not really their problem or not their responsibility. So there would be no assisting in sin if this person found a property and actually shared the details with their friend and left it to them how they make the purchase. So that is a solution there. As I said, with regards to the selling of the house, it's a very, if we did take a strict position, it would mean that the mortgage itself that the person entered in was impermissible, and therefore anything bought with that loan would, as a result, be impermissible. However, that would mean, taking that position would mean, lots of people, unfortunately, would be, houseless now that they've taken the mortgage out and they've now actually they've bought the property, they've paid off for the property now, they own the property, and now if we were to say, all right, you have to give that property away, they would be homeless. So therefore, we try to give a position that the person would be permitted to hold on to that, make tawbah for the fact that this person had given interest, paid interest, entered into an interest-based mortgage. So that would be the response to that. Okay, so let's look at if there's any other questions that I've come up with, okay, that have come onto this channel. So let's see, where are we? There we are, okay. So let me scroll up here. Is it permissible to use a modified version of WhatsApp, such as GB WhatsApp, APK? I don't know anything, unfortunately don't know anything about that. I don't know what it is. If it's a fake one, if it's, sort of stealing proprietary knowledge of WhatsApp, then I guess not. It really depends, okay, what the position is with regards to the actual app itself. So we need to find out what this app is. I personally don't know what this app is. So that's the first point. If this app is a sort of a fraudulent based app or based on WhatsApp, then obviously it's impermissible. We should not engage in fraudulent activity. If it's something else, then that's a different position. However, I'm not aware of it, so therefore I cannot give anything more than what I've just shared with you. Okay? And that's also a position we should adopt. We shouldn't always feel that we should give a response every time. Okay? We should always try to be aware of the information, and once we're aware of the information, then that is what we should explore, rather than sort of saying that we're going to give that answer all the time. Anyway, somebody has rung in on 01274 214 299 to put a question to us. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just want to ask a question that there is, we failed, Muslims, as a ummah, we failed to establish any courts or any legal system for those who are our religious leader, but they interpret Islam in wrong ways, and sometimes they abuse Islam, and they give wrong interpretation, and there is no legal system or legal, we didn't develop anything to bring them in the justice, that why they don't this kind of you are well aware of these things as well, that some people they interpret even verses of Quran in wrong way. And even in Pakistan today, Ulma-e-Deen, the head is who is well known for his bad character, for his fahisha habits, and is well known for everything, and he's head of Ulma's wing at present. And where are these Ulmas are sleeping, that they can't even have say on this issue, that we who is leading us and who is head of, I don't want to name that person, but it's that somebody who is Ulma's wing's head, and his character is so low, and he talks so I can't even describe it. It's so shameful.
Yeah, I've got the idea of your question, sister. So jazakumullah khairan. Inshallah, I will deal with that as we go ahead. Just to let you know, sorry, we've already have another caller in, so I'll get back to your answer shortly. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
Wa alaikum assalam. This is Najam Saqib from Workshop, Nottinghamshire.
How are you there, brother? You keeping well?
Alhamdulillah, very well, thank you. I have a small question.
Sure.
I have come across a fatwa which has been downloaded from the internet and from a sheikh who is residing in Germany. Now, according to that fatwa, he has recommended, or he has supported, the idea of combining the Maghrib with Isha prayer at the masajid somewhere between the middle of May till early August. This is because the Isha time becomes later and later, and it's not easy for brothers and other attendees to come back, as late as that for Isha. Now, is that something which we can practice over here as well in this country, say in the middle of summer, maybe June and July? Because I am responsible for running a masjid in our town, so this is the reason I'm asking you the question.
Jazakumullah khair, brother, for your question. Very pertinent as well. Jazakumullah khair. Okay, so two questions there. One is the, I'll make a note so it doesn't slip my mind. One is the question of the Isha prayer time, which is in the summer months, which starts around middle of May, sort of May the 16th, something like that, leads to sort of early August, okay? And the other question was about leadership. So if I take the, another phone call as well, mashallah, it's a busy day today. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
Walaikum assalam, brother. I'd just like to ask you a question. You know, when somebody passes away, how do you send them swab, salad swab?
Okay, Jazakumullah khair. So yeah, I can get to that as well, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, sister.
Can you? Oh, yeah,
Sorry. So say again. You just went off air.
Oh, sorry. Could you answer this question straight away because I have to go somewhere?
Okay, no problem, mashallah. You'll get quick service, microwave service. Okay, sister.
Oh, thank you ever so much.
No problem. Barakallah fik, sister. Okay, so let's do it in the reverse order because the sister has to leave. So we'll talk about somebody passing away first, then we'll go back to leadership, and then we'll talk about Isha in the summer months. So when somebody passes away, then no matter what we do, say on top of the grave, flowers and all the rest of it, it will have no impact on the person who's deceased. It will not reach them. Why? Because they're in barzakh. Barzakh is another abode. It's an abode which is outside of this world. It's in another world. So we have to somehow find a mechanism to send things from this world to this other world. And by placing things on top of the grave, it will not reach this other world. So how do we get things across to this other world? We know from narrations of hadith that the Prophet of Allah has informed us, and I paraphrase, that when we do good acts, we can make an intention for those good acts to be sent to or written in the books of the person, say for example, who's deceased. This is what the sister mentioned, Isal Thawab, which is the transfer of a good act or the reward of good act onto the other person. So how can we mention Isal Thawab, or how do we do Isal Thawab? Well, before we get to Isal Thawab, there's something which we term as a Sadaqatul Jariyah. Sadaqatul Jariyah is a continuous charity which takes place even when a person's now deceased. So it's something which is continuous. It is something which is perpetual. And there's a mention, for example, of, say, if you've built something. You've built a well, a fountain, something which people are continuing to take benefit from even though you've passed away. Also, for example, raising a pious child. So that pious child will continuously pray for you, or any good act that pious child does, you will get the reward for. So there's that element as well. And any knowledge that you've shared with anybody. But let's just say you never had the opportunity or you weren't aware of this whilst you were alive. So once the person has been deceased now, what can you do for them? Well, literally anything. You know, I'll give you a personal example. My auntie passed away in the first week of Ramadan. So alhamdulillah, my wife and I, with our immediate family and some extended family members and friends, have managed to raise sufficient funds to build or start to build an orphanage in Pakistan. And we've named the orphanage under her name. So the Isal Thawab, the intention we did this with, that Ya Allah, all this money that we raised together and we build this, may the reward of this go to my aunt. Okay, my wife would say to my mum. And therefore, anything, whenever a child, an orphan is taken off the street, provided food, provided clothing, provided an education, provided a roof over their head, then the reward from that, which is absolutely phenomenal, will go to my aunt. But it will also, Allah subhanahu is generous, it will also come to us as well. So it could be something like that. It doesn't even have to be something as big as that. It could be that you plant a tree in their name. So when you plant a tree in their name, then when a bird comes and eats from it, or when somebody sits under it as a shade, then that reward will go to the deceased. And I'm talking about quite things, big things, which don't go out of date, meaning they will last a long time. A tree lasts a long time. An orphanage, inshallah ta'ala, will last a long time. So it's not something where you feed somebody, because when you feed somebody, they literally eat it. They might use that energy to do good things for about 4 or 5 hours. After that, they're hungry again, the food's gone, they need to eat again. So something you want to do which you know is going to last for a long time. All these acts, and it can also be recitation. You could recite Quran and pass the Isal Thawab onto this. So any good deed that you perform and you make niyyah, you're doing it for the sake of Allah, don't forget that. You're not doing it for the person, you're doing it for Allah. But you say, Ya Allah, the reward that you're going to give me for this, I would like the reward of this to go to my mothers, fathers, whatever, to their good deeds. And like I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generous. He will also give the reward of those good deeds to you as well. So that's our way of doing it. No point putting flowers on, no point putting nice poems on. This is nothing, this is ridiculous. You know, these are not things which the Sharia has taught us. What the Sharia has taught us is to transfer good deeds into the hereafter through Isal Thawab. So I hope the sister was still here to listen to that. You can hang on another minute or so before we go for break, and I can share something else with you. Hopefully you're not in that much of a rush. So, you know, alhamdulillah, sister, glad to hear that you're taking this matter seriously, and you're concerned about trying to do the best you can for your relative, whoever they may be, or your friend, so that they have the best situation there for them. You will put a huge smile on their face, and when they do meet you in the hereafter, they will be, wouldn't know what to do with you. They wouldn't know how to embrace you, how to thank you. They wouldn't know what to give you to express their thanks, because we forget about our deceased in this way. I'm not saying we don't go visit them, we do. I'm not saying we don't start putting flowers on their graves, we do. But what we do forget is the good deeds that we can get to them. So find any way. We talked a lot about projects during the month of Ramadan, live as well. There's many other projects that you can get involved in, but it could even be something as simple as the recitation of Quran, doing a good deed. And remember, anything you do, the reward, make the niyyah that, Ya Allah, pass the reward of this, put it in the good deeds of my mother, father, or whoever the deceased is, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do that. So I hope that's answered your query. If you do want any further information, feel free to call back, inshallah. For anybody else, I will tackle the 2 questions when we return after our short break, which we're taking shortly. But if you also have questions, then please do phone in on the same number. So speak soon, inshallah ta'ala. See you shortly.